In this video, I'm going to teach you how to become faster in 2025. There are three main areas we're going to cover. Let's dive in. I know there's so much on social media with these mistakes are killing your speed. Why running on your toes? We'll do this. Don't do this. Do parachutes. Do speed ladders. There's so much information out there, it can get overwhelming. I'm here to make it easy. I was never the fastest athlete out there. That's why I became obsessed with learning and self-improvement. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use sprints, weights, and plyos to improve your max velocity speed. Over the past few years, I have read dozens of books learning from sports performance to strength training to speed training, even nutrition, on how to become a better athlete, how to become faster at your sport. Stay tuned for the last point, which I think is probably the most important exercise when it comes to improving your sprint performance. Let's dive in. Number one, you're weak. If you're weak, this is going to be holding you back from serious gains you're going to be making with your speed performance. The weight room is a huge tool in improving force production. It recruits high threshold motor units. Within larger nerve cells, high threshold motor units innervates around 300 to 500, even more muscle fibers. Now, when you have low threshold motor units, these are a smaller nerve cell that only innervate about 10 to 180 muscle fibers. According to the Henneman size principle, motor units and muscle fibers are recruited in order from smallest to largest. Slow twitch muscle fibers will always be recruited first, and then later to the fast twitch bigger muscle fibers. When a heavy load is used, such as a heavy back squat, deadlift, whatever that might be, slow twitch muscle fibers are contracted first, so this will be where your stabilizer muscles, and then they'll be taken over by the fast twitch muscle fibers, the bigger muscles. When the load increases, the CNS will detect a greater weight or speed and recruit more high threshold motor units. That's why when we have a sprinter or an endurance runner, the sprinter is a lot more jacked and physique looking, when the distance runner looks like he needs to go eat a sandwich. This is because they're both training different kinds of thresholds, different kinds of muscle fibers. The sprinter is recruiting a lot more high threshold motor units, which is using a lot more fast twitch, the bigger muscles. And the endurance runner is using the slower muscles because it's not intense enough to activate the HTMUs, hence recruiting the bigger muscles. So you might be asking, how does this help you run faster? In this research study, compared a high velocity and low velocity strength training group. The high velocity group actually got from 143 to 161 kilograms, while the low velocity group also increased their back squat from 167 to 183 kilos. Now, that's very high trained. And they also saw similar results in their sprint times. Both groups improved because they trained their ability to recruit high threshold motor units, which is essential for speed and power. Now, this doesn't mean to stop heavy back squatting or only do jump squats or anything like that. But from this study, you can see that just by training the body to use the weight room as a tool, they saw improvements in their speed training. But getting too caught up in the numbers, that's where most people go wrong. Use the weight room as a tool to improve your body's demand or ability to recruit high threshold motor units, which is only going to help you more on the field. So if you want to run faster in 2025, make the weight room your ally. Train with heavier loads, explosive movements, med ball throws. Make sure your technique is optimal to maximize the force production and recruit those muscle fibers you are trying to recruit. Sprinting isn't just about running. It's about improving the force production and putting that force in the correct direction. Point number two, reactive strength index. This is the key to elastic power. To run faster, you also need to maximize your RSI. This measures how fast an athlete can switch from the eccentric contraction to the concentric contraction. How well they're able to control that force, produce it eccentrically, feel that stretch, and like a rubber band propel off the ground. Imagine it like a basketball. If a basketball is really pumped up, it's going to rebound off the ground. If you throw more force into it, it's going to bounce even higher. Now, if you do that to a flat basketball, the more force you put into it, it doesn't go any higher. All that energy is leaked out and it just flattens on the ground. This is similar to RSI. When your RSI is poor, your body's leaking energy on every single step while running. A well-trained RSI is like that pumped up basketball. Every time you step into the ground, the more force is returned back to you. The reason RSI matters so much for sprinting, the better your body can utilize its natural elastic energy or stretch reflex, the more efficient and explosive you can become. If your body loses energy on every ground contact, it's like running on flat tires. Let's say a sprinter can squat 400 pounds, but is only getting 200 pounds of return because their RSI is poor. That's a lot of wasted energy there. Now, if they can use that whole 400 pounds, that's gonna be a lot more force put into that ground for every step. But that's just a rough example for you to get the hang of this. Improving RSI, you can reduce energy loss with every step and maximize the force you generate. Combine this with the recruitment of high threshold motor units, and you are on your way to better performance. Point number three, and probably the most important, is technique. If you are not running properly and your form is inefficient, then you are not going to be getting the results you truly want. Now, I don't need you to be super detailed or being very nervous about my toes pointing this way, my arm is this way. We're going to make this very simple, and we're going to go through 3 different areas for you to work on and improve it. Now, remember, speed is the enemy of technique. It is extremely hard to work on technique while training at max velocities. That's where doing drills or doing wickets or stuff like that can help you break it down by bringing that a little bit slower so we can focus more on the cues. These 3 areas are huge for improving your speed. Number 1, if you are landing in front of your center of mass, you are going to be putting the brakes on every single step. So if you're landing flat-footed, if you're heel striking, you now have to travel over that foot, which is a waste of time, and then propel yourself forward. Versus getting your foot directly or near your center of mass, it's impossible to get it below your center of mass. If you get it near your center of mass, it's going to be a lot quicker on the ground to propel yourself forward. Is there a thigh gap at contact? At top speed, you want to have this figure 4 position. If your leg is falling behind, that shows either there's too much backside work or not enough swing leg. Basically, your legs are moving too slow. You're losing power and compromising efficiency, which might lead to excessive time spent on the ground when the goal of it is to be as quick off the ground as possible, applying as much force as possible in the correct direction. Lastly, are you leaning forward, upright, or backwards? Sprinting with a slight forward lean or even bending at the waist can create an extra stretch in your hamstrings and not allow you to properly push off the ground to propel yourself forward. This is very important when you're trying to improve your sprinting. For future reference, I'm going to break down these 3 topics, show you how to actually correct it, but that's a video for another day. If you made it this far in the video, make sure to like and subscribe down below. You can check out the video here or here and see if I'm doing those right.